Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, March 7th. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, I thought we'd talk about possible business ventures and then try to answer some of the questions, the comments. I mean, keep them coming, guys. You guys got so much to add to this channel that you don't even realize it. And it immensely helps me. So, stay tuned. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, and this is not the weekday. The weekday is Monday through Friday. Today is Saturday, the 7th of March of 2026. So I was thinking when I have spare time, what other occupation could we be into? And I was thinking like lawnmower repos. I've been watching on YouTube where they're repoing skidders and they're repoing tractor trailers and cars. And why not lawnmowers? I mean, I get it on some of these models that are throwaways that the banks don't want them back. But you get into the bigger stuff, the compacts maybe. But can you imagine sneaking around in the middle of the night with a pen flashlight trying to get model numbers and serial numbers to make sure you have the right machine and that you're not stealing the neighbors on accident? Because I notice that in many areas, everybody seems to go out and buy the same lawnmower, so you're never sure if that's the right one. And then, of course, everybody's got cameras and auto sensing lights and everything that all come on, and probably one of those ring front door things that they have at the garage door as well. And then you get tased with a taser, or worse yet, get shot with some of this pepper spray, trying to get a lawnmower. And then how would you do it? Do you do it like the repo guys do it in the city with cars? Do you carry around these little things with four wheels on it? You slide underneath all the wheels and it just pushes so easily, and then hook the winch to it and winch it up on? See, I've been giving this some pretty good thought. Maybe you guys can come up with some different ideas of ways to make extra money. But it would be neat, wouldn't it? You're sneaking around trying to find lawnmowers that people that have not paid their monthly thing, trying to find. In all honesty, that would be the worst job for me. Because I got a big heart and I always try to help people out. And I totally get it as far as coming down on hard times and stuff like that. I get it. But if you're in the repossession business, you kind of have to have a tough heart, I guess. Like, not have too much respect for other people. Just do what you're doing and make some money, right? I was watching this morning of where they repossessed a cat skidder way back up into the mountains somewhere. And they threw new batteries in it and it started right up. Hadn't been started in 12 months, and they drove it out and they got it back to the impound yard where they're waiting for the bank to let them know when it needs to go to the auction. I guess the key would be the bigger the toy, the more bang you get, right? Years ago I used to watch that airplane repo where they sneak into the terminals and stuff and try to get into the hangars and do the pre-flight and check the books and do this and do that while they're trying to keep the owner preoccupied in the office under a muse or ruse or whatever you want to call it. But I guess if you get paid big money, you don't mind getting shot at. That's what I mean, somebody come onto my property and they go try to steal my tractor. I got news for you. You're going to meet the end of at least buckshot. You're going to know that you messed with the wrong guy. Just kidding. All right, so questions. Let's start with the Cub Cadet. The two Cub Cadet snowblowers. They both came in with the same issue of you could start it with a starter as far as roll it over, but we weren't able to get any fire on the plug. And the way you're right, Amos, with the battery, but we checked the voltage on the battery even when we were trying to, with the key switch on, to see if it dropped. And I even took the battery out of the good one that I knew was running and everything else, and put it into the older one that we've got first, and it still didn't make a difference. But what we found was on the one that we just picked up, that the key switch was acting all funky. It wasn't doing what it was supposed to do. And this is the first time we run into the EFI guys with a snowblower, so it's a learning curve. But I did a bunch of research on it, and basically the battery has to have enough voltage in it to fire the plug to prime the fuel pump, and the throttle positioning sensor has to be gapped perfectly and no crud or dirt around it in the flywheel, because they say that it's magnetic, so it could actually get a bunch of particles on the end of it, even brand new, and not work right. And if that's not working, nothing else will work. They're all integrated so that every aspect has to work before the fuel pump has to pump up before it allows fire to the plug. There's just so many different things. So with those units, you need to start with the battery. Give it a full charge, test to see what you have for voltage in it. Try turning it on to see if the voltage drops when the fuel pump and everything else, if it stays above 12, it should be 12 to 13. But we were able to get the one that we just brought in. We stole the key switch out of the other one and tried it in that one, and it solved all of our problems. We didn't get deep, and we decided we'd try the cheapest and quickest way to see if we could get that thing running. And it's great if you got parts to try from the other machine. As I explained to Tractor Supply representative, that at least with the two machines, I can check to see, like with the fuel pump and everything else. So they'll be happy that it was simply a $20 switch, and that's a warranty direct from Cub Cadet, never been used. The other one is a warranty as well. I don't believe in throwing a lot of parts at something. You know, that's the difference between doing a proper diagnostic and just trying to fix something. Diagnostic is you're eliminating stuff. That's the key. You keep eliminating until you come down to what it has to be, right? So like with the old one, I'm going to pull the throttle positioning sensor out and check to see if there's any crap in there, or, you know, actually I could probably take the throttle positioning sensor out of the running one, put it in that one, and see if it makes a difference. I may do that before I take the other one back. All right, inventory. Inventory, it's all going to depend upon how many units you push through your shop a season. You know, I can't stress it enough. You don't want a lot of inventory that's not making you money quickly. And if you're doing cold starts like we do, you know, what I try to do in the shop is, let's say Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Monday and Tuesday of the following week, I would like to get paid for by Friday of that second week, okay? That's how I bring them through the system. And so ordering off eBay or Amazon is now like a week anyways. So I know I'm not going to get paid for a week if I'm sitting there waiting on an order. You know, when it comes to the aftermarkets and the OEMs, some of you have mentioned, well, you're farther ahead to go with eBay because you're saving all that money and saving it for the customer. That's fine and good if the customer is willing to wait that long, and if you can afford to wait that long. If I'm ordering parts through Sten's, Rotary, Power Distributors, Gardner, the customer is going to pay for those parts. And they're going to pay for quality and speed, that we're going to get their stuff in and out. Now, I carry a lot more inventory than I would recommend that you do. But we see a lot of units, and what ends up happening is I've got tons of air filters on the wall of shame of where those machines just aren't out there anymore. If they are, they're few and far between. So I'm trying to ditch that stuff on eBay. The key to business is having the right tools and the right parts to complete the job in a timely fashion. The shop has to make money. I look at what is the shop made every week. That's a goal of mine. Is we need to have income coming in because we have expenses going out. So the more income I can have coming in on a regular basis every Friday, the better situated the shop is. And we're getting close to where the lawnmower season is starting to get underway. Today's supposed to be 59, 60 with rain. But we're still early in March. But some of my early customers are already digging their stuff out. The snow will be gone today. And hopefully that was the last hurrah for winter. So we'll start picking up those jobs. And the other thing that I do that I would recommend that you do is bank as much money as you can. Be as frugal if you can. And put money away so that when you do run into those small time, that the lower periods of volume, like you do in the winter time, you can still have a budget to get through, right? What I normally do for us for the winter time, because the snow blowers are a hit and miss, okay? We take on the bigger jobs with farm tractors, with clutches and transmissions and hydraulic systems, rear main seals, you name it, we're doing it. And we just delivered 2 this past week so that we could get paid for. Those were ones that I had to float the shop on for a few months because there wasn't any income coming in. We were working, but we weren't seeing the money yet. So this week was a decent payday, but most of that money was spent over the last couple months. So it's just putting it back into my savings that I have to pull from when things do slow down. So I highly recommend that you put away as much as you can during the mower season. That's where we make the most money, the quickest on services. On an average service is $180 to $250, and the profit on that is around maybe $60. By the time you pay labor, even paying yourself, pay for the parts, all the fluids that you put into it, that $200 thing sounds great, right? But once you subtract out all the parts and labor, it's going to leave you with around $60 to $80 of profit. That $60 to $80 needs to go in the bank. And I'm not saying your checking account, or even if you have a safe where you keep cash, put it away, forget it, and just keep doing that. Don't get into the mindset of, wow, I'm making some good money right now, and go out and buy a bunch of stupid crap that you don't need. That's how most businesses fail, is when the owners start going out and buying crap like boats and toys. And, if you want to grow a business, you have to reinvest it back into the business. And that's what I did. We're reselling almost $1 million in parts a year on eBay and Amazon? Yes. But almost all that profit went back into the business, back into inventory. And at one point, I had close to $75,000 just in inventory that we were drawing from right out of our own building. And shipping sometimes 120, 130 brand new parts a day were going out. And that's not counting the drop shipping and everything else. What I did was, instead of taking the money and going buying stupid crap, I kept trying to grow the business, and that was reinvesting back into parts so that my profit was in the parts that were sitting on the shelf. And we're still selling those parts. Some of them I'm just break even on it, but that was all profit to me anyway. So keeping the debt as low as possible and the assets as high as possible, there is good debt when you're using somebody else's money to accomplish something. But that also, like if you're getting a mortgage for a building or a lease, go easy as far as talking with the reps from the different manufacturers about floor planning. They make it sound all nice and rosy, but they're all getting a commission from the cut when they sell you the product, okay? So it has to make sense to you. Business sense wise, is it going to make you money at the end of the week? Now, last week we stopped in and visited with a couple of the different shops in the area, and they've got nothing for repairs. They've had a few sales of new stuff, but the stuff coming in for repair hasn't showed up, and it's been crickets all winter. And it would have been crickets for us all winter, except for we work on farm tractors, and there's nobody left in our area that has the skills like Claude that can tear the old machines down, put them back together, and bring them back to life. So that's kind of our sweet spot that we attach to. And last week I picked up 2 more jobs. This week I got 1 more job coming. That's what you have to do. You have to keep the work coming in as an owner. Sometimes you get so busy that you're working on your whole yard is full, right? And you're trying to get through it. But that's also a good time to keep advertising and getting in work. And if you look through my videos, you'll find different ways to advertise for free using Facebook groups, the community groups in your area. Don't spam them. And what I do with mine is I make them funny, because people will remember something that's funny. They got them to chuckle than just another ad that they're zipping through at 90 miles an hour, okay? In the comments, what are you doing for advertising? How are you getting more work in? That's probably the biggest job for me as an owner, is keeping the work coming. The biggest job for Claude is to keep fixing things. That's his forte. My forte is trying to get the work in here and doing what I have to do to make that happen. And if I don't have work right that minute, I try to have my own stuff that have been taking the rear burner and bringing that in and getting it done. Like my 2240, we got that all put back together with a new radiator and everything else. It sat out in the snowbank most of the winter. But we had time on Thursday to knock that out. So I told Claude, we're going to double up on it and we're going to get it done. And we did. I left it in front of the shop because I want to weld a small plate in the hood where we cut out for the radiator. Other than that, that girl's ready to go. So that just leaves my 420 in the yard, or 820 in the yard, that we have to the hydraulics with the steering. And I got that all tore apart, waiting on seals to come in to rebuild the other steering that was on it originally. On that note, you guys have a great Saturday. I'm headed for Tupper Lake, Saranac Lake today to visit the wife. And hopefully it's going to be a non-eventful day. On that note, you guys have a great Saturday.